So here we go. Welcome back to another edition of the League One Lowdown. Today I'm joined by Max from the GasCast Podcast, covering all things Bristol Rovers. Welcome back to League One, Max. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for the warm welcome.
It's always a pleasure. Now, let's talk about last season, Max, and what to end to the season. Well, everyone's seen it. Everyone's seen the footage, all the goals. But as a fan, watching that day unfold, it must have been amazing.
Incredible, mate. Yeah, it's we were saying before we started recording, the last time Rovers went up to League One was a Lee Brown injury time goal against Dagenham and Redbridge in the 92nd minute to send us up. And I thought it's never ever going to be topped. But Rovers are a specialist in the remarkable and the unexpected, and we somehow topped it with that game. And it was such a strange feeling because half time we were 2-0 up. We knew we needed to better Northampton's score by 5 goals. We were 2-0 up. They were 3-1 up at Barrow. And we were just sat there thinking, we're not going to score 5 goals in the second half and Northampton not score anymore. It's just not going to happen. So it was a very deflated atmosphere at half time. Second half started. We scored relatively early to make it 3. And then straight after the third, I think it was 2 or 3 minutes later, we scored a 4th. And when that happened, people were like, okay, all right. Okay, so what do we need? Everyone was actually thinking about it. We need 3 goals. And then I think probably 5 minutes after the 4th, Anthony Evans scored a free kick to make it 5-0. And then the whole ground just lifted at that because we looked at the clock. I remember looking at the clock and I looked and there was 25 minutes left. And I was like, we need 2 goals in 25 minutes and we're 5-0 up against a very inexperienced Scunthorpe side. When that 5th went in, I was like, we're 100% doing it. And if we needed 8 or 9, we would have got them in the 25 minutes left as well. There was so much time. And we got the 6th soon after. And then I think the 7th, which was the winner from Max Alderson, was on the 85th minute. But to be honest, I think if we needed 10, the way we were playing, we were going forward relentlessly. Scunthorpe, I do feel for them. I think first half they really fought hard, but the energy levels, I think from the 50th minute, 60th minute, the fitness levels of those young lads just weren't at the same level as our senior team. So it was boys against men that second half, and it was rampant celebrations at full time. And for that 7th goal was some of the best limbs I've ever been in. It was just crazy.
Yeah, it was. And recapping the season as a whole, what was the season like? Of course, ending it on the high on the final day, winning that final automatic promotions place. I'm sure maybe you're preparing in a way like, we're probably not going to be able to do this. We're going to be probably having to fight it for the playoffs, the lottery. But as a whole, how was the season?
Brilliant. Yeah, roller coaster. I know it's a cliche, but it really was. Christmas, we were 16th. I was Barton out. A lot of fans were Barton out. Wasn't working, playing 5 at the back, playing a high press with forwards who didn't want to press and just getting dominated in the middle of the park. So we had really nothing going for us until Barton changed it to 4-3-3, brought in some good loanees, some good players to bolster the squad in January. And we just took off from there, really. We couldn't stop winning. And when we have a player like Elliot Anderson, who was far, far too good for the league, he was like a cheat code, really. He would turn defeats into draws and draws into wins. And that's the kind of player that gets you up. So, yeah, it was a fantastic promotion, a fantastic season. And, I'll look back on it fondly for the rest of my life, if I'm honest. We don't do anything in half measures at Rovers. It's crazy scenes.
Definitely. There's only one season, of course, back at League Two after the relegation from the year before, so straight back up. What is the current mood then? Being back in League One, Joe Barton, an opportunity for him to really say what he can do in League One. I know he's at Fleetwood beforehand, but it's an opportunity for him to have a really good season, hopefully, with you guys. So what is the current mood?
I think the mood is shared between Barton as a manager and Rovers as a club. And I think both parties feel that they have unfinished business in League One. We came up in 2015-16 and we didn't really do anything in the 5-6 years we were in League One. I think the highest finish was 10th the first season we were up. We had a bit of momentum. And then after that, it was bottom half, 12th, 13th, 14th, and then slid down, obviously finishing rock bottom season before last, 10 points from safety. So I didn't really think we left any kind of impression on League One. The closest we came was when we were second at Christmas, and then Graham Coughlin suddenly decided to leave for Mansfield, and then the club just kind of fell apart from there. so we've not really like laid a marker down on the league. So I think we would like to make a challenge for playoffs, maybe not immediately, obviously, but kind of build towards that as is most clubs' ambitions. But I would like us to be a team who League One clubs look at and think, oh, we don't really want to be playing them right now, because we don't want to just show up and be part of the league. We want to compete and we want to be up there. And I think that is both the ambition for Rovers, who last spell in League One in the 5 years, we didn't really do that, and for Barton, who finished in the playoffs with Fleetwood once, I believe. I think he really wants to show he has ambitions to be a Premier League manager, so he needs to obviously go and earn those stripes.
He does indeed. Let's talk about the sexy stuff then. Transfers. Two names actually standing out for me. The players you brought in so far, of course, Jordan Rossiter joining from Fleetwood, and then James Gibbons, who of course was at Port Vale, won promotion with Port Vale on a free transfer as well. How would you rate your transfer window as a whole so far? Still a good month away for the whole window to shape up pretty much, but how would you rate it so far?
I would say probably 7 out of 10 so far. I've been pleased with all 4 acquisitions. Yeah, I really like the signing of Gibbons. He's a player who was, I think, set to join Sheffield United back in January before he got injured. And maybe that's why a few clubs haven't taken a punt on him, because of his injury record. So for us to take him off a fellow promoted side just shows the ambition of the club. We really want to be signing the best players we can, especially on free transfers. And yeah, he's looked really, really good in pre-season so far. And yeah, Rossiter, again, another one who could play at a higher level had it not been for injuries. So it seems like, with Rovers and our budget compared to a lot of the League One sides, we're not going to have the budget of Sheffield Wednesday, yourselves, Portsmouth. We have to take risks like this to get quality in. And that's what we've done with Rossiter and Gibbons. And hopefully that those gambles will pay off.
And we're speaking off there about maybe loan players. You've seen, as you mentioned, Elliot Anderson. They're going to be big misses, or do you think they can get replaced?
I don't think we're ever going to replace Elliot Anderson. He was a championship level player playing in League Two. It was one of those that a loan kind of came out of desperation because the boy needed playing time, and we were one of the only clubs willing to take him. And yeah, he was. I don't really think Newcastle knew what his level was particularly. And it was obviously levels above League Two. He was absolutely ridiculous. So I don't think we'll get anyone of his caliber back. But yeah, I think it's quite plausible we could get Connor Taylor back on loan from Stoke City. He had a really good loan spell last year. Obviously, the next progression for him, unless he gets first team minutes at Stoke, would be to go to a League One club. He knows the back four here. He knows the manager. Stoke know that we'll play him every week. So I would expect that to happen if Stoke's own another experienced centre-back. And then, yeah, wingers is what we need really, because we've lost Anderson. We lost Luke Thomas, I believe we're trying to get in on a permanent deal now. Yeah, we really need to strengthen in those areas. But I've been impressed by the business we've done. We seem to be trying to retain the talent we had from last season. So James Connolly, we had on loan from Cardiff City. We've signed him on a 3-year deal, which is brilliant for a 19-year-old. I thought he was just as good as Connor Taylor at centre-back last season. So to get him tied down on a long-term deal with the club is fantastic. I think Marcus is a smart addition. He's a low risk forward who knows the division, presses well, may not get 20 goals, but he knows League One and is very experienced at this level. He's kind of like a safe promotion signing that you kind of make after coming up to stabilise yourselves. And yeah, I kind of count Anthony Evans signing a new contract as pretty much as good as a new signing, because he was our best player last season over the 40 games and out of contract. I think a lot of us were expecting him to leave, so to tie him down was huge. So we're retaining a lot of that talent from the promoted side, and that is kind of the main thing for me, is to have that stability so that we can kind of try and kick on again and compete.
Yeah, you always worry about that. Teams who have a good promotion season and you feel like some of your players could get nicked by a League One team or even go to the Championship, or even those loan players you're not going to be able to get back. What is your feelings going into this season, going into League One? Of course, improving, as you said, it's a bit of revenge from the season before, finishing rock bottom. Of course, some old wounds to heal. How are you feeling going into this one? What would you like to see?
I'd like us to be aggressive, play our game and not adapt. Obviously, on some level, you do have to prepare and prepare for your opposition game plan and how to counter it. But I would like us to be on the front foot against teams. Last season, I saw too much adjusting to counter opposition threats and not actually have any plan to attack. I'd like us to play our game. We've got quality forwards at the club. Collins has got 16 goals last season, and he's improving every month. Evans is a fantastic signing. So we've got some real quality attacking players now. We're trying to retain that defence from last season to be the bedrock of our side and push on. So I'd like us to, obviously, a lot of clubs like ourselves who've just come up, we want to get some scalps from bigger teams, and we want to be up there. I don't think just because our budget is smaller and because we've just come up that we shouldn't be in contention for that top 10 and looking up towards playoffs. We have momentum with us, and we should use that because like I said, we've retained a lot of that squad. We have that momentum. If we can add a few quality additions here and there, then we can just carry on that trend hopefully and compete.
Well, yes, indeed. Well, let's talk about the head-to-head between Town and Rovers. Well, Tuesday nights for both teams. Travelling to Portland Road, first of all. You guys come here on the 13th of September. So early days into the season, we'll sort of find out how everyone's getting on. Transfer window have been closed, so all the deals have been done. Then the 14th of February, we head down to Bristol. Of course, we got so close to going to Bristol, back during the 2019-20 season. But of course, then COVID then came about and we couldn't go. So I know a lot of Town fans are ready to tick that off, me included. So Max, what are you expecting from these two games? Of course, we can't predict them yet because we haven't seen a ball kicked in League One just yet. But what were you expecting for these two games?
I'm expecting a difficult game. I think yourselves, Ipswich, have had a big overhaul in the last year or two, signed a lot of players who turned a few heads, particularly strikers, over the past few years, but it doesn't seem to have stuck quite yet. But I anticipate a strong season for Ipswich, and I'm expecting tough games. Every game at this level is going to be tough for Rovers. It looks a very competitive league this season. I think a lot of pundits are struggling to pick a bottom four or even a top six. So it's going to be very, very difficult to kind of anticipate how each side is going to turn out this season. But I'm expecting Ipswich to be up there with the budget squad they have and a bit of stability on from last season. So I'm expecting a tough game, yeah. But I'm also expecting Rovers to take it to a lot of the bigger sides this season because I think Joey Barton is very big on his team talks. He gets us up for the big games, and particularly from Christmas onwards, when he turned around the form last season, we were a big game team. And we won a lot of games towards the end of last season, a lot of 6-pointers, and that is no doubt down to the motivational side of the manager we have. And I'm expecting us to bring the noise to a lot of these games.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm very interested in how Joey Barton and Kieran McKenna are going to be on the touchline. Two very different sort of characters. Kieran McKenna is very laid back and stuff. Joey Barton, we all know his history as a player. But yeah, it's going to be interesting in those head-to-heads. Max, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for joining me. Any other business, anything you want to mention?
Not at the minute. Just looking forward to getting started. Only 7 or 8 days away now, isn't it? Just over a week. And can't wait to get going in League One. It's going to be a cracking season. So thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure, my friend. Well, get involved in the comments down below. Your thoughts, your feelings going into League One. Rovers fans, Town fans. Let's see how we get on in League One. It's going to be a roller coaster. Let's go.